SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG and welcome to the channel. Today I want to go over another analog horror series, one by Krusty Lobster, known as the Nuclear Nightmare. This one was very interesting. I did like a lot of themes that was brought into it, and it did have a lot of horror aspects that we didn't come to expect from these analog series as a whole. And I just really wanted to cover it because it did sound interesting, and the ending did leave me wanting more, and to know what happens next in this world. So, please, I'll leave a link in the description to the original videos, to the original creator. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below if you like this content. It really helped me out. And let's get started, shall we? Now, we're going to start this chronologically, being the creator's intentional purpose, such as the newest one he did, where it's more of a news report about Chernobyl happening, and at the same time it causing a whole whirlwind of different effects to different people. Suddenly these creatures start appearing all over the world, and we go on from there. We then go into the main first season story, where there has been uranium contaminating food and water that has been turning people into weird creatures that have spikes all over them, have extended arms, extended legs, seem to be very tall, at the same time almost tree-like. We go to more of this idea that they are currently attacking people. Well, not really attacking people, but more just curious as of the very moment. But have been attacking animals along the way, and we'll learn why in a little while too. We do see the transition from regular person to these creatures in the episode Face Report, where it does give a full description of the transformation due to the a patient in the hospital. But then in the video picture, we do get the idea that maybe there's still a semblance of their original personality still in there, though it does twist their minds, making them more aggressive and more psychotic, as we know from the previous video. We then go into infection, where once one is infected, they become more tree-like, tree limb-like, if you will, and gives more of this horror movie vibe overall. We then go to the plutonium episode, where it's discovered that there is more uranium being discovered, but now there seems to be traces of human flesh in it, suggesting that people are creating more uranium that's infecting more people along the way. And from there we go into the series finale, or season finale more like, of Voyage 1, announcing that they have discovered new entities in space. One is heading directly towards us, and has a striking resemblance to these similar creatures along the way. Leading us to Season 2, where we talk more about these creatures, along with trying to cure what we call these creatures now the Crowders. And we call this creature in space the Crowder King, as a kind of certified name for them at this point, along with other dangers along the way, such as teeth worms and such. And for now, we do know that the Queen Crowder is on her way to Earth, and has been destroying planet to planet. We have tried to lessen the effects of the Crowders themselves by trying to capture them and cure them. Unsure it worked because of the sound effects that are used, suggesting that they are uncurable, or are just trying to calm the people down, trying to hope that they can be cured. But as of this very moment, we are now being warned about the Crowder Queen coming from space. Now, when we get to the Crowder Queen's Alaskan Blood video, we kind of get this idea that these uraniums were infecting people, not just turning them into mutants, but more of turning them into these space-like creatures. This was already set up from the beginning, and may have even been the trigger to bring the Queen here. They all seem to share this sort of hive mind, this sense of mentality, and even starting to have their own kind of class system, if you will. From the youngest to oldest, as we see that their blood is starting to change. Again, in Alaskan Blood, we do know that if your blood is blue, that means they're young, but if their blood starts turning red, that means they're older. If they're purple, that means they're in the middle of their aging situation. And with that, we go into the solar system, where we find out that the Queen is on her way here and has been destroying every planet in the solar system to get to the Earth. We're not really sure where that's going to be going, but the closest thing we can tell by the Passing Mars video is that once it gets to a planet, it either destroys it, such as chemical gases along the way, or gas giants, if you will, or if it's deserted islands like this, deserted planets like this, it does kind of infect it, turn them into this wasteland of, I guess you could say, uranium. and that is something they show and are kind of horrified to find out. And for the season finale, we do know that they are trying to build a weapon to kind of push the queen away, and that has been mentioned throughout the video, but no one ever really took it seriously, because it's essentially just a giant flashlight said to shine in the middle of the queen's eyes and kind of scare her off. This has been in development since the early 80s, as far as we know, and it's pretty much the only thing they have to go off of to fight against this queen. And then we do get this mysterious voice who says that that's silly, that's ridiculous, we do need to come up with a cure, and that there is a cure to kind of push these creatures back to normal, while at the same time kind of fending off the queen herself. We don't really get much information, but that all this is pretty pointless at the end of the day, that there are more creatures coming out within the last few months themselves, and that he knows how to destroy or at least fend off these creatures. And it ends with that for Season 2, and we are now currently waiting for Season 3. Now, this was just me quickly summarizing or recapping the events of the videos. I do suggest going to go check them out. Like I said, there will be a link in the description to the original playlist and videos. Please go check it out and support Krusty Lobster. It would really help him out, and it would help me out. Alright, and let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, the mysterious voice, like I said, I have a theory of who that is, and I think it's Tommy. Tommy, if you remember, is from the video Pictures. In that one, he is little and drew a picture of one of those creatures before being sent to the hospital. It's presumably because he got sick. But, if we pay attention, he has named this creature Benji. He seems very close to it. And we even get a small glimpse of the outside of his house, along with what looks to be his room. And the outside of the house has this small word on it saying, "My house," suggesting that it's the creature outside staring at the house with a small semblance of a memory that he remembers this building being where he lived, and remembering who Tommy was. Maybe suggesting that before the full transformation happened, he went to go see where or what his family was doing. So for the most part, I have to say that the voice has to be Tommy, because I don't think it's in the video prior that he is the same boy that becomes one of those creatures as well. I think he just got sick, or just got scared, or the people and parents just got scared because he came into contact with these creatures, and they really didn't know how his body would react to it. So I want to say that Tommy grew up and became sort of this knowledgeable person about these creatures, maybe in an attempt to help save whoever it is this creature was once, or maybe because he feels that it's his responsibility to do so. But for now, that's my main theory in this whole video. What we know about the narrative of the main video is that people have been using uranium to make nuclear weapons, and we do know that in real life as well. One day it went off because of Chernobyl, another real world event. But unlike the real world, this one transformed people into mutants, into mutations. But it turns out they weren't mutants or mutations. These were just alien creatures infecting people and kind of giving them a shared hive mind, and at the same time calling their queen to Earth in a way that makes them kind of the trigger in this whole situation. It's because of the nuclear explosion that called the queen to Earth, and it's pretty much started the extermination of the human race, and in 2001, as we'll see later on in the future, the destruction of the Earth as a whole. So for now, that seems to be the main topic, where that the explosion of the nuclear waste seems to have spread through the air, through the water, and has gone to Alaska and Canada, affecting the people there, turning them into creatures, the uranium affecting their minds, really being spores that belong to aliens, or something along those lines, turning them into the creatures, and giving them this new sense of being, or in a want to prepare for their queen's arrival. The question is there a way to beat the queen? The answer is yes. Now, we have been given hints that their sound is pretty much the main dominant thing for the queen. It's transmitted screaming, it hears the voices of the creatures of Earth, and it's supposedly so high-pitched that only animals like dogs and cats are able to hear it, and when they do hear it, they are able to transform into the creatures as themselves as well. So, with that logic, we should be able to use the giant flashlight, if you will, to help kind of throw sound back at it. Kind of making it regress, I guess you could say, or even just blowing out its eardrums, because that seems to be the only thing it responds to, sound. So I guess something super high sonic might affect it in a weird way. Because that's the only logical conclusion we can get to this, that because more creatures are coming as this creature is approaching in itself. So the queen sound seems to be affecting the environment along with animals and people. They said people shouldn't be able to hear it, but if they do, they automatically become these creatures as well, just like dogs and cats and animals. So if that were the logic behind it, wavelengths and frequencies seems to be its weakness as well as its strength. That's why he's saying light won't work. It might be blind in itself, but sound might work. In a weird way, that seems to be the most logical conclusion I can come up with in this scenario. Because weapons won't work on it, because we know that it kind of feeds on nuclear radiation. It seems to have a stronger skin, it survives in space, and it doesn't need oxygen to survive either. So the only thing that could possibly beat it is sound waves, if that makes sense in a certain way. The way the story will go in and of itself from this point on, I think, is that people of independent natures, such as the organization that's been saying that it's been helping humanity, when really it's just been giving them a band-aid, much more like the nuclear crisis we had way back when, where you could just hide under a desk or hide in your bomb shelter, everything will be fine. It's in that similar sense, in the sense that they have a cure, you can hide from it, or in that sense. But now I think people are going to start uprising. People are going to start trying to find ways themselves to either cure the creatures or kill them. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground in this. And this mysterious voice that we hear is one of those people that's probably going to be leading this faction of just regular people, or a kind of this combination of the states or of the nations in a way, to try to save the Earth. Because now we all have a shared enemy in this sense. We all know that it's coming and we need to figure out something bigger. So we're going to be seeing many people trying different experiments, different ways of either curing the creatures or getting rid of them altogether. And I think his main point is that he has an idea, but he doesn't have the means to make it happen. That's why he's showing us these clips, showing that things have failed in the past, things are getting worse, and in a year or so, it's all going to be over. So now we need to work together, or I need your help in trying to build this thing, or just figure a way to fix it all as a whole. And I think that's what this next set of videos for Season 3 might end up being. The experimental phase for humanity. An attempt to either stay alive or lead us into Armageddon, but either way, we're really heading that way in the end after all. So, if I were a bedman, that's where I would go with the main series as a whole, just seeing where that ends up. Because we know that no one in space has survived. We know that the astronauts who were seeing this creature and taking pictures have long since been either turned to creatures themselves, or have just perished in space. So we don't really know the main idea or the constant threat that they're under already. And the fact that it's taking these planets one by one, I think it's just doing that sadistically in a way, to show that it's coming to us in kind of a countdown style, and that there really is nowhere to run for us, that this is the only thing that we have, and that we have to find a way to stop it. Because as we know, these creatures have shown signs of being a little sadistic, but more animal-like overall, with their class system still intact. This is a very packed series. I do like it. I think it's very interesting, very fun, and it does give a lot of information and add a lot of stuff here and there, such as Morse code. There's some Latin in there that you can decipher yourself. I don't want to spoil most of the things, that's why I really don't want to cover almost every aspect of it. But I am going to give these theories and give my 2 cents on what the main story is going to be at the end of the day. So, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please go support the original creator for another season, or you leave a like, comment, subscribe down below in my video to see if you want to see another analog or anything along those lines later on in the future. Maybe we'll do one later today, maybe we'll do one next week. We'll see. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys again, and have a great day. See you next time.